All right, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back, everyone. This is the March 2024 meetup of the Higher Education Power BI User Group. Glad to see some familiar names and faces back in our participants window. Welcome back, everyone. That was Dmitry Shostakovich, favorite piece that I played back when I was in high school. For those of you who are joining us for the very first time, the mission of the Higher Ed Power BI User Group is to train, educate, and connect data professionals who work with Microsoft Power BI at colleges and universities. And at some point, I'm going to update this slide to include Microsoft Fabric that I just haven't gotten there yet. As usual, I'll start with quick updates on where we are, and there actually haven't been any changes since last month's meetup. We are still on the February 2024 version of Power BI Desktop, which you can download at the link in the upper right corner. And if you are using Power BI Report Server for on-premises Power BI, we are still on the January 2024 version of that. If you recall, as I always say, every single month, there's really not a whole lot going on with Power BI Report Server, so I don't have an update. It's just kind of little tiny incremental updates with Power BI Report Server. So yeah, just not much to share. In terms of announcements, first of all, we're almost at 500 members, which is fantastic. Thanks to all of you for getting us closer and closer to that mark. It's a great milestone. Our next monthly meetup is going to be April 24th, 2024. We will be joined by Carly Laughlin from the University of Miami, who's going to be talking about her campus sustainability dashboard that she built in Power BI. I got a sneak peek of it a few weeks ago, and it's really impressive, really impressive. And she uses some great sort of some spatial mapping to look at different campus buildings. It's great. I think that Carly is going to have a great presentation. A lot of people should be very interested in, especially if you're interested in sustainability. We also already have a May meetup on the calendar, May 22nd, 2024. We're going to be joined by a data scientist from the University of Georgia who's going to talk about building dynamic dashboards and comparing some of Power BI's functionality to some of Tableau's functionality, which I know is a topic that resonates with a lot of you, either because you're still using Tableau or you're transitioning from Tableau to Power BI. So that will be a pretty good one. And then I'm also lining up something for June. And then I think we need to start thinking about other presentations into the future. So here's my informal call for presenters. If you have something that you would like to present to the user group, please let me know. And RSVP for our April and May meetups whenever you get a chance. As usual, after the meeting, I will send out a message to everyone via Meetup with links to our YouTube channel, our Slack workspace, our forums, so you can submit an idea for a topic or speaker. In fact, our speaker in May, I reached out to him because he submitted an idea through the forum, and I loved it and brought him on board. So that's kind of the main way. If you want to submit an idea for a topic or speaker, submit the Google form. I'll send that out after the meeting. And please consider volunteering to speak for an upcoming meeting. We really appreciate a variety of perspectives from colleges and universities, both big and small, IR professionals, IT professionals, whoever you are. If you work with Power BI, we value your perspective and we want to hear from you. So please volunteer to speak. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our guest presenter, Vijay Hemantha. Vijay is the founder and CEO of TrueViz. You might have heard of TrueViz in the past if you looked at the Power BI visuals marketplace and looked at some of the third-party visuals that are available for Power BI developers. TrueViz makes several custom visuals that you can purchase via the Power BI marketplace. And recently, DJ's team has gotten into a new product called PowerOps, which is going to be the subject of today's meeting. I've gotten to work directly with PowerOps as a tester. It's a very cool platform that BJ is going to show you that involves a lot of being able to analyze your Power BI reports and look at best practices and look at different types of visuals that you're using in a report. BJ is going to do a much better job of walking us through all of this. But I'm really excited to have Vijay here as our guest and to present on PowerOps. So, Vijay, I'm going to stop sharing, my friend.
All right, thank you for the invite, Pete. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. So, yeah, it's all great meeting you guys. So, my name is Vijay Hemantha. So, I'm the CEO and founder for TrueBiz. So, we are based in New Jersey. So, we run a company called TrueBiz where we are specialized in analytics and BI space. So, we work on various BI tools, especially with Power BI. So, we have been like working on it like last 5 6 years, and we have migrated many of the clients from a different platforms like a ClickSense, Tableau into Power BI. And especially with Power BI, when we are working through our clients, we find many gaps that Power BI has compared to other BI tools. Like call it like advanced visualizations, call it like version control. So we want to use our internal core competency to build the tools to fill those gaps so that we can get the most out of Power BI. So that's the sole intention. And first, we started building custom visualization, and then we chimed into another tools like PowerOps, which I'm going to demo shortly. So, which is going to go through the DevOps and workflow solution for the Power BI. So, yeah, that's my quick background about myself. So PowerOps, our company is TrueBiz. We are a Microsoft partner and leading provider in the data and analytics space. So we produce so far two tools, the PowerViz, which is the custom visuals, which I mentioned earlier. So these are all there in advanced visualizations library it is. It's already published in App Stores. You guys can go and check it out. We have some cool visuals there. So call it as Date Picker, which is a date slicer, like an advanced date slicer for Power BI, which is most of famous visual. There are other visuals like Sunburst and many other as well. We're also adding more and more visuals as well in the coming months. So this is definitely an interesting library for you to check it out. There is a free version, so you can try it out the visuals before you consider purchasing any of them. Right. So, but today's topic is PowerOps. So, where we want to present is like a DevOps and workflow platform for Power BI. It's a productivity tool which can analyze, optimize, and evaluate best practices in version control and deploy for the Power BI reports and models. So all of our tools are like SOC certified and for the security purpose, and we also have like a large number of customer base that for both for visuals and for PowerOps that we are recently launching it. So we're still in beta, but we are close to public launch. We're planning to launch it in a week time. So with that, like let's go to the next one. So what is PowerOps? So PowerOps offers a single platform where it can analyze Power BI reports, compare between the versions, optimize it, version control and deploy. So it's a complete end-to-end workflow solution for Power BI report and model development. So that is PowerOps. And currently the PowerOps comes with the two different versions. One is the desktop, another one is SaaS. So the desktop version we are offering it for free. There is a free tier for desktops. So it is an external tool. If you might have heard of Tabulator or DAX Studio, so it will be same as an external tool for Power BI desktop. So where it can do the functions like analyze, compare best practices, and find usage also the recently introduced. And whereas SaaS version can do a lot more, it can even do the version controlling and deployment and much more as well. So to see the functionalities difference, this is how it's gonna look like, the desktop and the SaaS version. So the desktop can do these functions and the SaaS version can do more in the version control and other things as well. All right. So let's first start with PowerOps Desktop. So desktop is a free external tool that we're releasing. So it can analyze, compare, and evaluate best practices. So I'll go through each function when I start with the demo. But it is quite helpful to analyze, like you can get every bit of your information, and compare is like you can compare between the different reports or models to see what's been changed. And best practices has in like it evaluates against Microsoft standard best practices to see what are the rules that are failed for your report or model, what can be improved and to make it better and make it more efficient in terms of performance as well. So that's the PowerOps desktop. Let's go ahead with the demo. So I'll show you quickly. So this is the PowerOps desktop tool. This is just an external tool that you will see it in. If you are using Power BI in the external tools tab, you're gonna see PowerOps when you install it. So when you click on it, this is what it opens. There's the PowerOps desktop version. So when you open it, you're gonna see on the left side the recent files list. On the right side, you're gonna see the open file. So it will show you all the recent files that you have that opened recently in your Power BI. Whereas an open file, you can open something that is not recently opened. Also, you can open using PBIX, PBIP, or PBIT. We support all the file formats, including the newly introduced TIMDAL format as well. If you have a PBIP with the new TIMDAL format that Microsoft has introduced, that is also supported. Right. So for the demonstration, let's choose some reports right from here. So I'm just choosing the sales and return sample, which is a PBIP file that was added. So when I click on load, it adds it to the canvas. So as you see on the left side, the file got added. It shows the path from where it got added also. And it shows how many pages we have, visuals, visual types. It shows every bit of the information about the Power BI report. So we have 4 sections on the top. So first one is analyze, and second section is find uses, compare, and best practices. The analyze section is like gives you all the documentation and data catalog of your report, and it also gives the lineage as well. So we'll go through that in detail. First part is in analyze. So we have summary, which gives you the report level summary of total pages, total visuals, visual types, filters, custom visuals, how many bookmarks this particular report has it, and all the information it is presented here report level. We also have the same thing in the model level as well. If you click on the model, it shows like how many tables your Power BI report has it, how many columns, data sources, measures, and all those information. So I'm switching on to report section. If you go to report section, you can drill more into report and see every section, every component in report. For example, pages, how many pages you have, which ones are hidden, which ones are not hidden, and what is the landing page as well. So this one is the landing page, and what are the canvas dimensions, what is being used, and every color. So here we just not present it in the theme color IDs. We actually show everything more readable and Power BI developer friendly formats for the people to read it. So we have other sections like filter pane. So what is the different filter pane properties that you've been using it in your report, and filter cards properties as well. And it can even has this on the top right, you can see the table view and visual view as well. So if you switch to visual view, you can see the wireframe view of the same report that you have it. And going back to the table view, you can see the same information here in a more tabular format. You can see what page, for example, net sales page here, it shows that I'm using 31 objects. And you can see all the information here, and for each object, like for example, there's the card visual that I'm using it, and what are the fields that I'm using it, and stack bar, what are the fields that I'm using it. If it is a measure, it will have this orange color. We have legend on the top. If it is a what columns you have been using, what measures you have been using, what is the sort order. And we also have other formatting options as well that you can see. Click on it and you can see that for this particular, all these ones, what are the options that you can even click on it, and it will show you what are the different values that is being used also for the same stack bar chart. And the same goes with the visual interactions as well. So you can see that what are the different interaction this particular visuals has it. And the same with the general properties like the height, width, and other properties of that particular visual. So it is quite helpful to understand like what are the different visuals we have it in that particular page, and also what kind of visual interactions it has, what are the properties of those, and etc. Everything that you see it in PowerOps is all you can download it in a CSV or an Excel, or you can even search it also. Every column that you see is all searchable. So you just click on search and type, and it is searchable and filterable as well. Right. So if it is a page is hidden, so you will see this hidden icon as well next to it. So that gives a glimpse that it is a hidden page, and what are the normal pages that you can see on the top. So we also have custom visuals. If your report is using any of those custom visuals, it shows up those information as well. Right here, if you have a used and unused custom visuals as well. And it also shows the filters in more meaningful way to understand what are the different types of filters that we have in the report, both the visual level filters, page filters, report filters, and drill through filters as well. So the visual level filters, it shows like all the what are the different pages, what visuals we have, and what are the filters that's been associated with it. And same goes with page filters, and what are the different pages and what are the filters, that's page level filters that we have. So here I don't have any report level filter, so it's not showing that there is no report level filters found. But if you have something, it is going to show up here. Same goes with the drill through filters too. So if you have any drill through filters, it's going to show up here too. So with them on the interest of time, so I'm going a little bit faster, but feel free to stop me if you guys have any questions in between.
Thanks, Vijay. We're having people ask questions in the chat. And I'll let you know when they come up. We've got one question already about the rules engine, and we'll get to there. I think you'll probably end up answering all of the questions that this person has posed.
Yeah.
Now, we do have a good question here from Paul. He asks, are there any built-in diagnostics or troubleshooting tools for resolving performance issues?
Yes, we will. I will go through in detail in the best practice section. So we have some of the performance issues identification also in the best practice section. So we're gonna see that at the end. Cool. So I'm going to bookmark section. So everybody in Power BI world understands that the bookmark is like a black box in Power BI, though the people use it for bookmarks for every bit of thing, though it is not supposed to use for the same purpose, but bookmarks used for every trick that people do in Power BI to achieve the some functionality. But bookmarks are like a black box. You cannot really see what's happening behind bookmark, but this tool let you uncover what's behind the bookmark also. So you can just see all the bookmark details. You can click on it and see what are the actions that has been part of that bookmark. For example, this particular bookmark is closing the filter pane, and it is the filters. This is what the filters is applying it. Report level filters and page level filters, and it is also showing these visuals, and these are all the fields that's being used, and these are all the visuals that's being shown. So it covers every bit of action that particular bookmark is doing. You can click on other bookmarks, you can see the other bookmark details also in the same way. So this has been quite useful to understand what's happening behind the bookmark. Right, so we have actions also here. So you can see that what are the actions that are part of your report, and whether you call them bookmark or any other actions. We also have sync slicers, so you can see that what are the pages, what are the slicer fields, whether it's synced, visible, or anything. And you also have navigators if you're using page navigators or bookmark navigators in your reports, so you're going to see those information also here. So this covers all the report level, the data that we have it. And similarly, we have model level information also. So what are the different tables? It shows up everything that we have it, and the columns, what are the different storage mode information, and etc. You can even click on this visual view again here, the model view on the top right. That shows you in the same Power BI looking like the table view, that you can see what kind of relationships you have, what are the properties that it has, and every bit of information about that model. And you can also see the same information in the table view as well. So we have columns. It shows up all the column properties, like whether you are using, whether it's an implicit measure or not, whether it has summarized by, and all other properties is going to show up here. And yeah, same like measure tables and everything too. So we also have hierarchies. If you have any of those hierarchies, it's going to show up here. And parameters, like a field parameters and numeric range parameters too. It shows up in this thing. And we also have data groups and data sources, like what kind of data sources you are using it. So it's going to show up all of those information also in the section. And we also have relationships between the tables, like from this table to this table, what sort of relationship these tables has it in your model, and whether it is an active relationship or inactive relationship, on all those information, it would be showing it here. And we also have refresh policy and perspectives also, information also. It shows up everything about your model information too. So now comes the DAX. So if you have measures in your model, so you can see all the measures in a single place. So you can see what are the table name, measure expressions also. You can even copy, or you can even do a formatted copy as well. If you click on this, it's gonna do a formatted copy as well of the DAX. It's run a DAX formatter behind, and you can paste it wherever you like to have that. And again, like, it's all filterable. You can search for a particular measure, and you can select that as well, whatever you like. Right. And coming to calculated columns, it's the similar ones. All the calculated columns that you have it in your model, that's going to show up here. And the calculation tables also, and calculation groups. And if you have anything KPIs that has been created, that's going to show up here as well. So ideally, we covered all of the sections, like report to DAX, everything, every bit of information that particular report or model has. PowerOps is going to show you a more meaningful and user-friendly way to see all the information at one place. So now let's get to something more interesting, so which is dependencies. So a dependency section uncovers the lineage in your model. It's very common that we use one measure inside another measure, like a nested measure. So all the columns that are being used in other measures and other calculated columns also. So this shows you like a tree structure of finding all the dependencies and lineage that you have in particular reporting model. So for example, so we take a look at this, the units returned difference, or let's see the net sales per month. So this particular one measure, so you can see the lineage. You can just right click and say filter. So that shows you only the lineage for the net sales per month. So as you can see that net sales per month has an expression on the mouse over, and this has been built using another measure called net sales, and which is internally built using the by using the other columns like sales amount and status. This is serving other measures in like the last 2 months and other measures that you can see. So this is serving the other ones in the line. So this is quite helpful in doing the impact assessment. Now take a scenario when you're making the modifications to your measure. So now you know what other measures you have in your report model, so that's gonna be impacted. Or it's the same case if you're starting with a column. So if you're making a change to a column, so what all other measures is gonna be impacted in your site. So you don't even need to start from here. You can even use a search bar on the top also to search for the same as well. It's the same experience. And we also have a table view of the same. If somebody is more comfortable with finding the table view, so they can use this one too. The visual view is more effective in terms of identifying the lineage in general. It automatically constructs a lineage. It reads through every bit of measure and columns and calculate columns and comes with this view. Right, and you can even uncheck it. Like if you don't want to see columns in this, you can just uncheck the columns and calculate columns the same way. Similarly, we also have report dependencies as well. So the report dependencies is like is a one step above the model dependencies. Now we have visuals and pages also in the picture. So let's say if we look at this, you can even start from here. You can even click on it and you can see what's being used. You can even right click and say filter the similarly. So as you see, I was interested in the returns measure. So I clicked on that. The orange ones are measures, by the way, here. So I clicked on the returns measure, which I'm interested on. So I want to see where it's being used. So you can see this measure is getting used in this green ones, which are visuals in this particular page, in the returns page. This measure is being used. Also, this measure is serving another measure. That other measure is being used in another page called return rate. So you can see the whole lineage of it. So if you're making a change in this measure, now you know what other visuals and measures and pages is going to be impacted. So this will be very helpful to understand the impact, and also when you're making changes, like what are the things that you need to verify or test before you once you complete your changes too. Similarly, the same way, so you can even start the start typing it from here as well. The same thing I want to find out, like I want to see net sales measure, how is that being used. I can just search for the net sales and you can see that where it's being used. It's the same experience. Either you can start from the chart or you can even start typing it from the top. Similarly, we also have Power Query dependencies. So it's the same as what you see in Power BI, but you can see that like how is this tables built on what source it has that mapping from here. Now let's go to the next section, mQueries. So mQueries gives you all the queries that are being used. So there are like, I have here 17 mQueries, Power Queries that we have. So you can even expand it, each query, you can even copy, and you can even do a formatted copy as well of the same. And you can even download the same as well in a text file. Right? It shows up all the Power Queries that's being used. And you can even search for it. Like, let's say I want to search for a keyword called sale. Now I have the 4 matching queries that found. So I can see where that particular one is being used in a Power Query. You can even do a case match search, and you can even download all that all at once as well. So this mQuery shows both enabled and disabled mQueries too in there. Right. So we also have roles. Roles shows like both RLS and OLS. So row level security and object level security. What do you have in a particular report? It shows up here. So it's quite useful when you are reviewing the report that is built by other person, or that's something that you're supporting. So you can see what that particular report has all at once to do that. And lastly, it also shows the info section, which is like a bite-sized insights where you can see that what is the version that particular report is using, and what is the theme file, what is the model compatibility level. It also shows some of the interesting facts on the right, like whether that particular report is using auto time intelligence or not. So this particular report is using, but this one is not a good practice from the Power BI best practice standpoint. So that's why we highlight this in a red color. Similarly, as you see, the implicit measures also is not a good practice. Since this particular report is using it, so we are highlighting them. Even the same case with uncertified custom visuals as well. So, and it also has other facts. If it is not a concern, then that will be shown in black color text. But if it is something that is concerning or not a good practice, that we show it in red color, so that the developer can look at it and go back and see the fix for that thing. So this is all covers under analyze section. So this, to give a quick recap, so this particular file, once you load a file, it's easy to add a new files from here. Once you add a file, it scans every bit of that particular report and model and DAX information. It also finds the lineage, mQueries and roles and other info. So it does all of those under analyze section. So
Vijay, we have a question from Karen. She wants to know, is there any feature in PowerOps that will let you trace the lineage of a certain data element across multiple reports?
yes, so we are planning to introduce that in the next phase. But right now, this lineage is within the file today. But we're gonna add a button here, like a new options to scan the service as well, so that you can scan the service. And let's say if this is a shared data set that you added, so you can scan the service to see all other dependent reports or other ones that has a dependency, and you can find the total lineage as well.
Okay, great. That's awesome.
Cool. Right. Any other questions before I move on to the next one?
No, let's keep moving.
All right, cool. So next one is the find user. This is something that we introduced it recently. So here you can see all the explorer of your model. So all this model you can see, and it also, when you expand it, you can see the number and also red dots next to it. That signifies that the red dot next to it like shows that this is not being used anywhere in the model. So this is the something that you can consider removing it. But if you see something that is the number next to it, that is the Like for example, this net sales is showing 39, so that means that it is being used in 39 times. There are 39 usage findings for this particular measure, right, in the report. So you can see the breakdown of where it's being used also. You can see this is being used in this 14 visuals. This is like a most common measure that's being used in this particular reports, but you can even see what's bookmarks also being used. It's also used in data model, and it's also used in DAX as well, where other is being used. Similarly, you can check wherever you find this usage you want to search for, so you can see that where it's being used, the breakdown also. And this is quite helpful to understand the usage of particular column or measure where it's being used. What's even better, it's not a direct reference. We even look at the indirect reference also. For example, you may not be using the measure directly into another, but you may be using it in somewhere in the conditional formatting, or in the some title, or somewhere in the that hidden items also. You can find it all at one place. You can clearly see what are the items that can be removed. And you don't need to even start from here. You can even use the search bar the same way we have it on the last time we have seen it, like the same net sales per month. I'm interested in this, so you can see that from here to the same experience that you get. And you can even export the usage results. Let's say if you're reviewing your team members work, and you can run it the report through this tool and see, okay, I found this is the measure that's not being used, why don't you consider removing it, or this being used, or so you can send all this usage results to. All right, and next one is compare. So yeah, before I go with compare, let me finish the best practices part. So the best practices part is the most important one, where we evaluate the best practices across all the Microsoft standard best practices. Microsoft introduced some 73 rules in general. So, and all of those rules has, like, in terms of both performance formatting, like modeling best practices, and also the report best practice also. So we evaluate all of those rules, and we automatically scan against the report and shows displays like what rules that particular report has failed or passed. So as you can see, there are 68 here, is 36 has been failed, 32 has been passed. So when you can even drill into it. You click on it and it shows like what are the rules that have been failed, what has been passed. Right, so you can even see on the top right, you can see a legend, low, medium, and high. So you can even have an identification here, high rule or medium rule or low priority rule. If you are in your company, if you don't worry about low priority, just uncheck it out. If you don't worry about medium, or just uncheck it. If you care about only high priority rules, you can see what are the high priority rules that has been failed, so that you given attention to fix that. So, and we also offer this range, like you can even expand and see, like for example, there's the mark primary keys that's set to be true. So you can see what objects has been failed. So everything is extendable, and we also provide the helpful links as well. And in few cases, we also provide this wrench icon as well. So that means that we have an auto fix for that. So for example, you can click on it and you can see the copy and copy script as well. But if you upload the PBIX, we can do an apply fix as well directly. So let me quickly show you that part too. So I've added another file now called Adventure Work Sales, and I'm going to best practices here. So here you can see that, okay, these are all the rules that have failed. I can click on this and you can see this new button showed up called apply fix as well. When you click on it and it tries to apply the fix automatically, either you can do it directly and apply fix right from here, or you can even do a copy the script and run it on your end as well. So, or you can identify that what are the columns and do it manually, the changes as well. So it works in all the ways, both on the doing it manually, or you can do it like an apply fix right from here too. So now that it is applied the fix, you can see that it has been moved, this one, and it has a badge as well saying that it's fixed. So it's quite helpful, like for the starters with Power BI, and even if you have some self-service report developers, are to identify what are the major issues that we have it, and fix those issues without any intervention, doing it manually. It can apply it on at a glance. So that's these are all the rules that we have not set up. These are all set up by Microsoft. So you can see that like there is a gear icon on the top right. If you click on that, that shows up the rule settings. So we set the PowerOps default. These are the same Microsoft rules, but we corrected few stuff and set it as a default version. But if you always want to point to Microsoft best practice rules, you can just change this setting and apply. That can always point to the Microsoft rules itself. So you can click on see on this link, and that shows like what are the yeah. So these are all the rules JSON file that is being set by Microsoft GitHub version. So these are all the BPA rules. So these rules are the ones which we are using it and running it against the particular report to see which one is passed, which one is failed, and we are offering this auto fix. And you can see just not the model level, you also get to see the report level rules as well. So we also have the report level rules, like what are the objects, like for example, this visual is not using theme colors or any other objects. Also you can find it right from here. So you also have a chance to edit the rules, like you click on the edit rules and you can disable or enable the rules. You can even edit the click on the edit rule icon here, and you can even copy duplicate the rule or delete a rule. If you click on edit rule, you can change the numbers as well, or you can write the fully new expression and validate the expression as well. And you can even add a rule from scratch too. So you click on this and write your own rule and set the priority and add a scope and write a rule as well. We even have a documentation around like how to write the better rules. So that is in there too. So it's very quite easy to track the evaluate the best practice rules and see how the reports are doing, what are being passed, what is passed. So adding this to your workflow of the Power BI report and model development, it will be very useful to build the more efficient reports, especially with the performance. You can see it's like what are the high priority and medium priority ones that are like that you need to fix it before you push this to production, right? And yeah, that covers mostly on the best practices. So any questions on this section?
Vijay, one question we had from Paul earlier is, are there any restrictions on the complexity of the custom rules that you can define with the rules engine? It doesn't look like there is much of a limitation because you can write that custom formula using the expression language.
Yeah, so there is no limitations. So we have this PowerOps can access the all the model and also report structure. So as long as you can write any rule in the same language, so it can support it. It supports all the different, all the model, measure, relationship, culture, and every bit of that. So it can support all these scopes that we have. So there is no typical limitation that is to it.
Great, thank you.
All right, now let's come to the last section of PowerOps desktop, so which is the compare. So the compare is like it can compare between the two different report files. For example, if somebody gives you two PVIX files, it's hard to know what's being changed between both the files. Both might look same, so we made some changes, but it's very hard to know what's been changed. So, but this tool let you easily compare between the two files and see what's been changed. So I already have the version 1 file of Adventure Sales, and let me add the version 2 file also so we can see what's the differences. So I'm just adding it here. So it's been added. So I'm selecting the V1 here and V2 here, and I'm clicking on compare. So it immediately shows me the details that is found, the differences that are found. As you can see, it marked in yellow, red, and green. So the yellow signifies there is a modification that has been done. Red signifies that it has been, there is some removal. There is the few things that got deleted, and the green one shows that there are some things that got added. So, and it also shows that in in an easy readable format from the inner section wise also. For example, in report, you have 7 modifications, 2 deletions, and 28 additions. So you can see the breakdown of each one in separate sections also. So for example, in pages section, as you see here, so here you have 2, 2, and 6, 2 additions, sorry, 6 additions and 2 modifications and 2 removals. So you can see all those here. You can even click on the center button. So for example, the first row that you have, so I click on it and shows like what is the exact change that happened. Just the page name got changed here, right? So in the second one, if I click on it, it shows that, okay, the canvas background color got changed on this page from this color to this color. So similarly, you can see it for removed, what got removed, what information got removed, and etc. And the same goes with the visual section as well. So for example, this particular one, if I click on it, it shows that this area chart has a sort by, doesn't have a sort by earlier, but now we have added some sort by in the new file in ascending order. And the same goes with all the additions that are got added in this particular page. These are all the new charts that got added. Click and see what's got added. You can even drill into the properties also to see what's got added. And similarly with other things as well, see the changes. You can even easily drill into it and see the details. And you also have a visual view as well in this, so you can see that whatever is in yellow, whatever is in green, so you can click on it and see what exactly has changed for the chart. If it is not changed, then it will show it like a black border, but if it is something that got changed, so it shows with this thing. And see, you can identify the changes that happen for particular that. So coming back to the table view, so the same goes with, there are many custom visuals that get added. It will even show you whether you're using a certified custom visual or uncertified custom visuals as well on this one too. And filters, what are the change, sync slices, same goes with the model information also. And it will be more interesting with the model when you go to the visual view. So you can clearly see visually what's been changed. So the one with no background, it shows that there is no changes happened, but one with the, for example, the red one shows that this table got removed. You can click on it and you can see that the table got, whatever it got information got removed in the destination. And with the one with modification, you can drill into it. I can see that whatever the column highlighted in yellow, you can click on it and see what exactly has been the change happened in that. Right. And also, if it is removed, any particular column in the table that shows in the red color, you can click on it and see the change. And yeah, it's the same way if you have anything, even if the relationship is also here, you see the red color that is marked, because since it is removed, the table itself is removed, this relationship also got removed. So if you switch the tables like from here V1 to V2, and if you make the V2 to V1 and do the comparison, now it turned green because it's now, that wasn't there in the source, now it's been added, so that you can see that. So it's quite effective to identify the changes. You don't need to go in each section to find out what's changed between the reports. So, and coming back to the table view, so here you can see the same way the changes happens for columns, the different tables, everything that you can click on it and see the detail of what's being changed. And even in the DAX, so let's say if you change some DAX expression, you click on it and you can see, okay, this, what was the source expression, what was the new expression of the DAX also, you can see that's being changed. And with the calculate columns and even queries as well. And what's even more interesting, it's just not saying the change. You can click on it and you can see the exact lines of change as well. What's been changed in that particular mQuery and Power Query. The same thing is true for even the bookmarks. Imagine if you are given 2 different Power BI files and that has some changes in bookmarks. It's, you really visually don't see any changes on the given a Power BI files, PBX files, but this tool can let you and see exactly pinpoint what actions in the bookmark has changed. So it's quite effective that way to identify the changes. And it can even see, it shows the differences by default if you uncheck that, and it will show you the no change items as well in each of it. all the no change items also you're going to see. But if you check that, then it's going to show only the changed items. So again, you have a column selector. So in the next phase of this particular compare, we want to add a new button here, and so that people who don't want to read everything about this compare going to each tab when you have more number of changes, we want to show a summary also. When you click on it, we want to show a summary of like what's been changed, what's the highlights of the changes. So that's also in progress. So, but yeah, so this is something that we can proudly say that there is no other tool that can do as good as this, both report and model level, and also in both showing visually also the changes. And the same goes with the best practice and others too. So, any questions on the compare?
Let's see. So Hillary is wondering what versions of Power BI will this work with? And maybe Hillary's asking about report server versus cloud. If she can clarify in the chat, that would be good. But I mean, VJ, will PowerOps work with Power BI desktop that's optimized for Power BI report server?
Yeah, that's right. So it works for that desktop on there, and the cloud one also we are supporting in the next phase. So right now, when you click on add file, so you're seeing the files that you can add it from the locally, right? Either you can load whatever you already opened in Power BI desktop, or you can upload it from right from your desktop, right? But in the next version, we want to add the service option also on the top. So either you can add the files from local or from the service as well. So from service, you can even choose the reports from service too. So that will be more interesting. Even let's say you are making a changes to a file locally and you want to compare the same file that is already in production to see what changes you made compared to the one that is already in production. So that will be even more effective. So we are working on that. You're gonna see that opened up in the next phase.
So let's talk a bit more about what the future of PowerOps looks like, VJ. We talked about sort of next phase. What other enhancements do you think you'll be bringing to PowerOps that would be useful for developers?
Sure. So let's go to the desktop roadmap. And so we are, the first things that we are trying to do is, so what we have delivered so far in the Q1, that is like external tool, analyze dependencies, compare, and best practices. Even we did the other one as a find users also, an additional one. In Q2, we are planning to do the service integration. The service integration is like you can load an app or add in a file from the service itself, so which you can analyze, find users, compare best practices, and it can even do when we connect with service. The one that previous question that we got, like you can even do the find the dependencies in the service also with all the shared data sets. So that helps there, and you can even compare between the two different, even the service one versus with the local file as well, and you can even come do the best practice for the service files too. So that's gonna be very useful, and we're also planning to integrate the desktop with Git and Azure DevOps also. So how that is gonna change things is like, now imagine you are when you are adding a file, you have local service, and you will have a third option called Git or Azure DevOps, whichever your preference is. So you can load the file directly from Git, and you will show all the repos right from here. You can choose a model and you can load it directly in here, and that you can open the Power BI report also, and you can even make the once you have done with the changes, you can even commit it right from here with the changes. You can compare between this also. So it will open more possibilities in the PowerOps. So you don't really need an VS Code or any other tool to do the version controlling with the PBIP files, writing it commits. You can see it all at one place. So you can even pull it the particular repo, and also you can even use it and analyze and compare the things. Once you're good, then you can commit it right from the tool. And yeah, you can even find the differences between the commits also right from here as well. So that will be quite useful in that way. So that is all coming in the Q2 of the PowerOps desktop.
Great. Anything else you want to share with us?
Yes, so we have another tool also called PowerOps SaaS. So I just want to give a quick brief about that as well. So the PowerOps SaaS is a cloud version of the tool, which is already in beta, and people can try it out even today. So they can try for free when they click on it, the SaaS version. So if they register, or they can click on sign in, you will have two options to log in. Either you can use GitHub or Azure DevOps. It works seamlessly for both. For example, I'm using Azure DevOps for the demonstration. So it's an online tool. It's not a desktop tool like the other one. The earlier one I showed you is the desktop tool, but this one is a cloud version of the same. So it automatically uses the Azure DevOps and connects and shows up all the projects and repos and all the details right here. So you can see all the branches here. And as a new user of this, you're gonna start with creating a repo. Repo is like a workspace. It's let's say I'm calling this a sales workspace, and just putting today's date today, 24. I can even just add a file. I can just add a full report here. Let's go and add something. So I can just add a folder of the PBIP folder right from here and click on create. So it takes care of the version control process like automatically. So all we are doing is just that we are uploading that particular uh, the PBIP file. Now that repo has been created. So once it is loads, we can see that. So as you see this adventure work sale that got added, you can see the same information that you've seen in the desktop tool. You can see it here also. But what's more in SaaS version is that it is version controlled. As you see that it has a project, and it also has a repos of the same, and it also has the files in main branch. And I'll show you what's happening behind the screens too. So it's the project. Okay, it's in the sales workspace with today's date. So I can go to this is the Azure DevOps. So I can just search for today's date. I can see that it just created this right now. So the PowerOps is like a layer on top of the Azure DevOps, which makes it easy to adopt the version control to make the workflow more easier for you. So as you can see that this has been added here, and you can even create a branches also right from here. Click on create branch, unless I want to create a dev branch, and without adding any more files, I can create it. And hit the create, so it created a branch already. So you can see that main branch and dev branch. So you can add more files into dev branch, and you can even do a comparison as well. So all the features that you have, it's gonna work here as well. You can compare between the branches also. I want to compare the dev branch with this and main branch with this. It compare and it evaluates both of that, and it will show the information of what's been changed as well. So same goes with best practices also. It runs the best practices one to identify what's been the changes and what are the rules that have failed and passed. It also can do the version history as well. So it will show you right now. I just added the file. That's why you're saying one commit here, but it shows you all the commit information, and it's easy to download a particular commit. Or for example, you have 100 commits that you have done over the time, but you want to go back to the last week's version because today you have done a deployment and you want to that has some unexpected things that you want to go back to the previous version. So you can just select in the history and just download that, or click on restore. That makes that the current makes it as a current commit. And you can even take this workspace and plug it with the Git integration with Microsoft as well. So it works seamlessly. So this is the SaaS version of the tool, and this is has a lot more features, and the roadmap look like this for SaaS version. So we already delivered all this, and we are working on the pull request and peer review for the Q1. And Q2, we also want to do the automated deployments, no code pipelines from the interface itself. So you will be able to create the pipelines with in no code experience. It's gonna be a clicks, and you're gonna see you can choose from any workspace to deploy, and you can even run the tests like best practices and all those tests also. It's gonna be very user friendly and will be very automated. It will make you adopt like the self like the version control and DevOps best practices very easily without writing a single file script. People usually adopt the Azure DevOps or GitHub, they understand that you have to write via YAML scripts, like YAML scripts, to creating the pipelines. And also with PowerOps, you can avoid all of those. It can create pipelines very easily and using the new Fabric APIs and etc. And the best part is, like, we don't store any of the data. Every data, including this metadata, whatever you're loading is metadata only here. You're just loading the PBIP file. So even that gets stored under the source control. So we don't store any of the information, including the metadata. So that's about the SaaS. Right. So for PowerOps desktops, so we have a wait list currently. So you can go to powerops.app and join the wait list. So this is the PowerOps desktop. So as you can see, you can just enter your name and join the wait list. And on the other hand, like PowerOps SaaS, you can try for free today as well. So that's open, that you just register and try for free. There is a 5-file limit for SaaS version at this point. But the desktop is very close to public launch, so we are trying to launch it in a week time. So yeah, if you join the wait list, you will hear back very soon from us.
Great. Thanks, Vijay. Anything else?
That's from my end. If you guys have any questions or would like to try it out, or if you need to reach us, so send us just an email, like support@powerops.app. So either I or one of my team members will respond to you.
Okay. I'll invite anyone who maybe has any last minute questions to take yourself off of mute. If you have anything else that you want to ask Vijay, or we could go into open question and answer. Just feel free to unmute yourself. I will say, Vijay, this is very impressive. I think that it's a very useful tool, especially if you're perhaps a senior developer who needs to review the work of people under you, or if you are even just a solo developer who wants to make sure that your Power BI projects are conforming to best practices. I think the rules engine is a really incredible piece of technology. And from previous conversations you and I have had, I think you know that I love the rules engine more than anything else. But it's such a great potential tool for teams who want to optimize their Power BI report projects. Let's see, I've got some good feedback in the chat window. Last call for any questions, and we can let Vijay go. All right. Well, Vijay, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate everything that you shared, everything that you showed us. I'll tell everyone, I posted a link to the desktop wait list in the chat. Go sign up and join the wait list if you think that this would be a useful tool for you. I think it's could be really great. I mentioned earlier, RSVP is open for our April, May, and June meetups, where we'll have some real hands-on, maybe hands-on is not the right word, but we'll get to do some really close demonstrations of how to build different Power BI projects, the sustainability dashboard, dynamic dashboards, and an interactive college fact book. If that appeals to you, please RSVP on our meetup page. Thank you so much for joining us, and look forward to our communications after the meeting, which will have links to PowerOps and our YouTube channel and everything else that we need to share. Well, thanks once again to Vijay. Appreciate you so much for showing up today and giving us a demo of PowerOps.
Thank you, Pete. Thanks for the invite, and thanks everyone for attending. Hope you like the PowerOps demo, and if you'd like to try it out, so there's a free tool, the desktop, so you can go ahead and try it out and join the waitlist. It's definitely be a value add, your development workflow.
Thanks, everyone, and I will see you next month.
Thank you, everyone.